Hello and welcome to a live Kerfefe break on Deprogrammed with Keri Smith. I am your host, Keri. Kerfefe break is a live show we do on Mondays and Fridays. Sometimes we have guests. Um, Sometimes we address specific topics, and sometimes we just talk about what's in the news, what's on our mind. Today, I have a specific topic we're going to be getting to shortly, which is the current lie that people who are in the social justice left, or colloquially, a lot of people call it woke ideology, the current lie that they are pushing about trying to make sure there's no sexually inappropriate material in children's school libraries. The lie that this is somehow book banning. That's what we're going to be talking about today. We have some videos set up to watch. But first, I would like to say welcome if you're watching on Rumble. This is the first time we are live streaming over on our Rumble channel. And if you are already a member at Rumble, if you watch things there, thank you for pushing me and prodding me to get this done and to get this set up. I want to say thank you to Robert Lowry for helping me figure out some things. And also thank you to um, Demogeny, who helped me figure out the live streaming part. The confusing thing at Rumble for me is that there are 2 channels. I don't know why they do this, but originally we had all of the archives of Deprogrammed. The videos would automatically populate over there after the fact. They wouldn't live stream, but they would upload. And there are 2 channels. There's my user channel, which is Keri Smith, and then there's the channel. It's called Your Channels. It's Deprogrammed with Keri Smith. And so some of the old videos are on my user profile and some are on the channel. So I had to decide, since there's no way to merge these 2 things as far as I can tell, I had to decide where we're going to start focusing anybody who's on Rumble, any of our Rumble viewers. So we're doing it on the channel. The URL over there is Real Keri Smith, like it is in most places. And we are currently live streaming there. Look at this. There are people watching there. Fluffy Goat, Davina Duckworth. Good to see you over there. I don't yet know how to make all of the chats go to one place. So I'm going to be going back and forth between these 2 locations to try and make sure I don't miss anything important. But welcome. I'm very excited. We're on Rumble now. Of course, this is a good alternative for anyone who doesn't want to support YouTube. You can support us over there on Rumble. If you prefer to stay here, you're welcome to stay here as well. We're going to live stream in both places. And I do anticipate, though, that we're going to do some things that are Rumble exclusives, maybe topics that we can't talk about on YouTube, or, there are certain things to this day that you will get your video pulled down or you will get a channel strike if you discuss them here. So there will be some things in the future that we do just on Rumble. I also have another announcement, and thank you to 2 sisters in some yarn, Amy and several others, for continuing to prod me about this. This is the new year. We've got the new studio. We're getting organized. I'm getting the back catalog updated. We're doing organization and January cleaning. So we're bringing back book club. And the first book we're going to read is Critical Dilemma by Neil Shenvi and Pat Sawyer. Neil Shenvi is someone I've been wanting to have on the show, and I want to talk about his book. And I figured we can read this one together. Maybe he can join us for a Q&A at the end, or if not, we can do an interview with him to coincide with it. But this book is, I'm going to tell you, Critical Dilemma. The subtitle of this book is The Rise of Critical Theories and Social Justice Ideology, Implications for the Church and Society. So this one I think is going to be really interesting. Here, where's the camera? Let's put it there. It's out already. So go get a copy if you want to be a part of book club. And the way that we're going to use our usual, the old format, I'm just going to open it up to discussion. You can be on camera if you would like to be. We'll do a group video. You can be on camera or you can just be in the chat. The date for the first book club of 2024 is going to be Thursday. We're moving it to Thursdays because Sundays were always tricky. A lot of people, some people are at church. My church schedule is different than some people's because we rent, and hopefully we'll have a new location by then. But we currently meet in the afternoon, so it's just too hard to pick a time that's comfortable for everyone. So we're doing Thursdays. This one's going to be Thursday, March 7th at 6 o'clock Central. And I'll make sure to post it on all the socials and let you guys know where you can find this book. But if you're interested in joining us for a discussion of this one, you've got a good month and a half, a month and some change to read this one. So I hope that you'll join us. So here's the Rumble link if you want to know. Thank you, Robert. We've also got we've also got oh, the thought just escaped me. What was it? There was one other announcement. Well, I'll tell you a couple of little things and maybe that'll come back to mind. We the camera. So someone in the comments, I haven't had a chance to respond yet, but on the last video, thank you very much for the comments. They help the channel, they help the algorithm. Someone suggested that the camera needs to be cropped in a little. I'm working on it. This camera, I can't get it any more cropped than this. This is a cheap webcam and we're getting a new camera. So Robert Lowry has sent me a camera suggestion. I have another camera suggestion. We're going to be looking through those and choosing one. And so that aspect of the podcast is going to get a little better as well, which I'm excited about. If you would like to support the channel, you can do so. It helps us out at Patreon, Locals, Subscribestar, or here at YouTube. You can become a channel member for I think as little as $1 a month. So thank you to those guys who support Deprogrammed, who support this programming. And it's because of you we're able to do some of these updates finally. So this week on the schedule, Wednesday, we are back with a popped culture. We're doing these every other week now. Popped culture with Mystery Chris. It's going to be live here and on Rumble, YouTube and on Rumble, live at 8 o'clock Central. And our subject this week is something Mystery Chris is so excited about this. He wants to talk about the mainstreaming of nerd culture and when this happened and how it happened. Like, when did it become when did it go from being uncool to be a nerd to being cool to be a nerd? He has sent me so many links already. He's tracing the history of this, and we're going to be doing that on the Pop Culture Show on Wednesday live at 8 o'clock Central. And then this Friday at 1 o'clock Central, I'm going to have a live interview and with a special guest. I'll announce it a little bit later this week, but that's going to be Friday at 1 o'clock Central. So I believe those are all of the announcements. I believe I have those out of the way. Let's see. Adam, I was a nerd before it was cool, as in the days when you were beaten up for it. Yeah, a lot of us were nerds before it was cool, right? Nerds and geeks. Pirate said it was when nerds started becoming billionaires. Maybe. I don't know. Mystery Chris is tracing the whole history, so we'll see what he says. Thank you for the super chat. Digital Ouroboros. I always almost mispronounce this. Thank you for the super chat. That's 10. What is that currency? I forgot this one. You'll have to help me out. I really did forget this one. This one isn't a joke. You'll have to remind me. But thank you for the super chat. It says, love the new thumbnail style. Oh, good. Okay. Those are kind of funny. I was just having fun with some, playing around with different kind of styles. So I didn't know if we're going to keep that for good or not. But if you think it's funny and you like it, thank you for letting me know. And Skillet for $5. Thank you for hanging out today. Skillet says, so excited finally to watch live. Greetings from South Carolina. That's my home state. And thanks for the amazing podcast. Hey, what's it like in South Carolina there today? It's warming up here in Texas. It's finally, I still have my space heater on, but I can finally be downstairs. Also, I had my first guest in the live studio. Now it's not for this channel, it's for his channel, but we filmed it here. I was so excited to be able to do this. If you guys are fans of Stuttering Craig, if you're fans of the Side Scrollers podcast, it's from the video gaming community, but they cover culture, a lot of the same stuff that we cover from a pop culture perspective. He does interviews, and I got to meet him in person. Funny, weird, small world fact. He is the brother of Five Times August, the musician who I got to interview. So two incredible minds and creative types out of that family. And so Craig was doing interviews in Texas at a convention that was happening this weekend, and came and sat down and did an interview with me here in the studio, which is so exciting. So that's going to be coming out on the Side Scrollers podcast channel. He doesn't have a date yet, but that'll be coming soon. And he was so lovely to speak with. We talked about all sorts of things. I mean, obviously, we're sort of tracing the history of the popularization of woke ideology or social justice ideology. That was a big part of it, but we talked about other things as well, and just a really great conversation. So I got a taste of what it's going to be like to interview people here in the studio, and I loved it. So yeah, that's coming out soon. Oh, and thanks. There's the channel, Side Scrollers Podcast. Thank you, Cheeky Mare. Okay. I think, let me just take a look at the. Oh, okay. Oh, over on Rumble, there are no mods yet. Okay, we'll fix that. I don't know. I still have to learn a lot over on Rumble. Somebody was asking, how do you directly address another chatter here on Rumble in the chat? I still don't know how to do that on YouTube, so I'm not going to be of any help. Somebody there who's more familiar with Rumble is going to have to help. I try to do that on YouTube, even on the other channels too. It never works on mine. For some reason, I can't. It doesn't highlight their name the way it's supposed to. So, let's see. Yeah, Pirate. I'm not sure how to mod you over here, but that means it's unmodded. It's the Wild Wild West over on Rumble. That's what's happening over there. Okay. Okay. And my husband's here from the he's at the doctor's today. Hello. One of these days when he's here, when I'm streaming, we're gonna do a better job of showing you the finished studio. We'll have him on a remote last time because I really want to show off all the work we did, all the work he did in this room, and we'll do a better job of that next time he's here. So, okay. So we're going to jump right into this topic today. I'm sure that many of you have seen this happening in the past year or so, since this has become one of the big cultural topics, one of the issues that I think those of us in the reality camp, I call it the reality camp because that's very broad and that includes everyone. There's all kinds of people in the reality camp. There are Christians, there are atheists, there are Muslims, there's my Hindu friend who I interviewed. There's all kinds of people of different faiths or no faith in the reality camp. Some are liberals, some are conservatives, some are libertarians, some don't know what they are, like me. And it's not one kind of political affiliation or party or belief system. It's just pro reality. That's what I think of it as. So in the reality world, one of the successful things I think that parents especially have been hammering on has been trying to remove sexually inappropriate material from their children's schools, from public school libraries. And the organization one of the organizations doing the best job at this is Moms for Liberty, which of course is constantly attacked, called the hyperbole around this group is incredible. They're called everything from right wing, which I don't even think they are, right wing, to Nazis, to white supremacists, to radical right wing bigots. You know, the propaganda trying to take down this group is so overwhelming. You know, they are doing a great job. If you haven't seen it, I got to interview one of the founders of Moms for Liberty, Tiffany Justice, here on Deprogrammed. You can find that in the archives, and she is killing it lately, Tiffany Justice. So we're going to take a look at the way she handled some of the leftist lies surrounding this issue. She went on Joy Reid's program and did an incredible job. And we're going to take a look at that because I think it's very instructive on how you can handle some of these lies when you're having conversation. The first one, the big lie that they are pushing is that it is somehow, if you are trying to remove sexually inappropriate material from children's school libraries, that you are banning books. That's what they call it, banning books, which is ridiculous. It's not just a lie, it's a ridiculous lie. It's a really stupid lie. None of these books are being banned. You can go to any bookstore, you can go to the public library, you can go online, you can find these books wherever you want, except perhaps in a children's school library. There's no reason for these books to be in a children's school library. Tiffany made a great point on the Joy Reid program, as we'll see. Children are not allowed unfettered access to the internet at schools. There are certain subject matters, sexually inappropriate subject matters, that are censored, that are not allowed. They're not allowed to find certain information, certain entertainment, certain types of materials if they are filtered out. And for good reason. These are kids. These are kids who parents are entrusting into the care of the government for 8 hours a day. And those parents need to know that the government's not going to be exposing them to inappropriate material, sexually inappropriate materials while they're there. And so they are not allowed unfettered access to the internet. Now, do you see any of the leftists claiming that the internet is being banned? Stop banning the internet. Okay, stop banning it. Well, what does that mean? I mean, stop making sure kids can't access sexually inappropriate stuff online while they're at school. Oh, that's what you mean by banning? Like, that's what they mean when they use it for books. They don't say it about the internet, of course, but when they use it for books, they say banning. I've made this point on this show before. Playboy and Penthouse are not available in children's school libraries, and for good reason. Do you see any of them on the left saying, "Stop banning Playboy. Stop banning Penthouse"? Oh, what do you mean by banning? I mean, stop keeping it out of children's school libraries. That's what they mean. And this lie is so pernicious. It's so widespread in the mainstream at this point that, as you're about to see when Tiffany Justice went on Joy Reid's program, The Readout, I'm sure she thought that was a great pun. I'm a person who loves puns, but perhaps I'm so prejudiced against her, I can't even get a laugh at that one. The Readout. She went on The Readout, and you'll see at the bottom, the chyron. The chyron has the lie. The chyron says, Moms for Liberty banning books. They're banning books. We're going to look first at some of these books that parents, mothers have come together and said, these don't belong, obviously, in children's school libraries. We're going to look at some of them because a lot of times the people on the left, you're going to find, if you push back even slightly, they don't know what to do. They can't defend having this material in the school libraries. All they do is rely on catchphrases like, I don't want to ban books, which we're not arguing to ban books. So a lot of times they don't even know what's in these books. The people who are casually on the left in that echo chamber that I used to be in, they just hear things. They hear the way it's presented in their echo chamber. They hear the propaganda. They hear extremist right wingers want to ban books. And then they just repeat that. That's the extent of the depth of their knowledge about this topic. So if you know a little bit about the books the books in question, you will already be leaps and bounds ahead of them and well prepared to talk about this issue in your personal life with anyone who might say to you, hey, why do people on the right want to ban books? Okay. So then you'll be prepared to talk about some of it. There's a great resource I'm going to recommend, and I'm going to put them up here on the screen. They're called Courage is a Habit. And this organization provides tools and resources for parents to push back against woke social justice indoctrination in the law, in their kids' schools. They have a number of categories. Their resources are very extensive. So they even break it down by state, what's happening in each state, which is amazing. So Courage is a Habit. I would definitely recommend these guys. Excuse me. This is their section on the vulgar books and many of the books in question that parents and parents like those in Moms for Liberty and people who are not even parents yet, like myself, would like to see removed from children's libraries for good reason, from children's school libraries. So you can see here on their website, vulgar books, a tiny fraction of the type of pornographic and transgender cult books found in K through 12 in school districts across the country. And yes, they are probably in your school too. This is one of the ones, if people are familiar with any of them, they are usually familiar with this one, Genderqueer. This is a book that is written for and marketed to kids. And to make it worse, it's a cartoon book. It's illustrated. So there are illustrations in here that of porn. This is one of the ones I would objectively call porn. And I don't know any defense for having this book available, and I've never heard one yet. I've never heard them make a defense for having this book in children's school libraries. The arguments they usually try to make, we've already talked about the first one, is they're like, well, we're against banning books. Well, so are we. We're talking about taking this out of kids' school libraries. You can still take your child, if you're a terrible parent, you can still take your child to a public library or to a bookstore and you can get this trash and subject your child to this kind of abuse if you want to. But we're saying you should not be allowed to force your terrible parenting on other children, on other families, by putting this in public school libraries for kids. But you can take your kids, if you're a terrible parent, and show them any kind of smut you want. No one's saying to ban this book. They're saying take it out of the school libraries, keep your terrible parenting to your family. Okay, let's look through this book. Genderqueer, a memoir. And this is a book about a little girl who decides that she's trans and becomes a boy, which is impossible. But this is about a book about trans and kids. So a book about trans and kids for kids. I'll just read through a couple of these. At Thanksgiving in 2015, my sister brought her new boyfriend to stay with me and my parents for the first time. And then they have a picture they've illustrated of this boyfriend who is a woman. Okay. Amelia is the first person I've watched take testosterone. And so then they have illustrations here of this woman injecting herself with testosterone. So you stopped your period? The girl who is the protagonist in this book is asking months ago. Wow, amazing. Then there's stuff here about masturbation. Again, this is for kids. I should have done a warning up front. If you have little ears in the room, this is not a show for them, clearly. Alison Bechdel writes in Funhouse about discovering her masturbation soon after her first period. I discovered it around the same time, followed by the further realization that my ability to become aroused was governed by a strict law of diminishing returns. And so then they have an image here of a man fully aroused, masturbating a young boy. The more I had to interact with my genitals, the less likely I was to reach a point of any satisfaction, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, now you've got the protagonist. There's an image of the protagonist's groin area, this young girl's groin area. For years, my standard method of masturbation was stuffing a sock into the front of my pants and manipulating the bulge. Then there's an image of two people having sex, an illustrated image of that. And she says this would evolve into hip thrusting while thinking of my latest gay ship. Memorably, I once got off while driving just by rubbing the front of my jeans and imagining getting a blowjob. Again, this is an illustration of the girl who's narrating this, the teenager. When I finally got old enough to not be embarrassed talking about this stuff with my sister, here's a scene. I'm not going to read through this because it's pretty gross. Or these two sisters talking. The one on the right, who is, supposedly a trans teenager, and the sister is telling her that she needs to taste herself, stick her finger inside herself, and taste herself. There's an image here of a quote. It's called on screen in the book, "Vagina Slime." Um, then there's this really graphic image of a nail being hammered through this girl's groin area, and it's bleeding, and it's talking about the realization that things can go inside my body. Um, I'm gonna scroll on down. Okay, this one is one of the most graphic images in the book. This one's the one you may have seen if you've heard people talk about this one. So I'm just warning you. This is a illustration of what the girl says she fantasizes about, the visual she's picturing, and it's another teenager giving her a blowjob, although she doesn't have a penis, of course, because she's a girl. So it says, "This is what I've been picturing." But then when it actually happened, you can see a teenager there trying to give her a blowjob with a fake penis. And she says, "But I couldn't feel anything." Yeah, because you don't have a penis. Um, so that's why you don't feel anything. So they decided to try something else. And there's this disgusting image of a bloody sanitary napkin here and blood all over her legs. This is about when she is having nightmares about her period and menstrual blood. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. There's a delivery driver here, and Tiger is very upset about it. I'll be right back. So Tiger really doesn't like the subject matter. It's good. I took it off the screen. It's pretty gross. I know. Kevin says Tiger wants nothing to do with this. I actually have 3 dogs in this studio today because I'm dog sitting 2 of Tiger's friends, and did you notice they're very well behaved? They didn't bark at all. They're just sitting there chill. But he thinks he is the doorbell in this house, so he has to tell me if there's delivery or the mailman or anything, right? Are you gonna be good now? Are you done? Okay. Okay. He doesn't look any better. He doesn't look any better. What's that mean? He's a little chupacabra. This is how they look. Yeah. Kevin is in 3. I know. You wouldn't have even known it because the other 2 dogs are nice and quiet. They're just sitting in their bed, like, you have to show us all the puppy. I'm not gonna get up and show them to you now because 'cause it'll be a big to-do with this camera, but I will show you the puppies at the end. Yeah. Okay. So, that book we just went through, I'm not gonna go through the remaining panels of that book. It's disgusting. The last part we saw was the menstrual blood part, but I just want you to know where you can find yeah, let me scroll through the rest of this one. It's disgusting. I want you to know where you can find all of this information so that I do think it's important to be familiar with what's in the books that many of us believe should not be in public school libraries. And so you can find out more here at Courage is a Habit. And if you go to their vulgar book section, I'm gonna let's just look through maybe 2 more of these. These are the ones that they are usually defending being in the public school libraries. Can you see this one? This is one of the other ones that they defend a lot. This book is Gay by Juno Dawson, and it's got the stupid, the new pride flag with black and brown and pink and blue and stuff coming in and eating the rainbow. Yeah, okay. This flag is I see that flag and I immediately think dumb. Like, if you're waving this flag, dumb. I can't help but this sort of think. Okay, chapter 9. This one's also got illustrations because it's aimed at children. Again, aimed at kids. Chapter 9, the ins and outs of gay sex. You got a little illustration there. And we're gonna just read, now, one of the things they say when they try to defend these books being in school libraries, they say it's educational. It's educational. Let's listen to some of the educational language, some of the academic language in this book with cartoons aimed at kids and in their chapter about gay sex. Let's listen to this academic, intellectual, educational language for kids. Um, Oral sex is popping another dude's peen in your mouth, or indeed popping yours in his. Hey kids. Hey kids, here's another one. It's more about sliding your mouth up and down the shaft of his cock. Right, kids? Here's another one. Straight men like stuff up their bums just as much as gay men. Right, kids? Hey kids, got another bit of educational, academic, intellectual information here for you kids. It's a universal truth that many men like sticking their willies inside things. Do you notice how they're using this childish language like willies and bums? Because they're they are talking to children. Thomas says demonetized with Keri Smith. Oh yeah, I'm absolutely being demonetized on this video today, right? Isn't that funny? This is inappropriate for YouTube. They're totally going to strike this video. It's inappropriate. You can't read things like this, but you can put it in a children's school library. Why not? Right? This is the insanity of the world we're living in right now. A lot of parents have been taking these books, and I would encourage you to do this if you have kids in the public school system. Take this book to the next school board meeting. If one of these books exists and has not been removed yet from your kid's school library, take this book to the next school board meeting and read some of these excerpts from it. They will cut off your microphone. That has happened multiple times. We've seen videos of that. They will say this is inappropriate to read in front of fellow adults at a school board meeting. It's inappropriate to read this sexual language. Really? But it's not inappropriate to give to someone's 10-year-old without their knowledge to put it in the public school library for their kids to pick it up? If you're on the left and you stumbled on this video, or if you're, like, casually on the left, you don't know about what's in these books, like, how do you sleep at night defending this, calling this book banning to want this to be removed from children's school libraries? What is wrong with you? Do you have kids? I feel for your children if you do. Here's some more in this same book for children that they defend having in kids' school libraries. We've got another illustration here because, again, this is for kids. This section is called Bumming Instruction Manual. It's got these two guys that look like construction workers looking at a little chart on how to insert something into their butt. Hey, kids, here's an excerpt. Top or bottom? If the thought of having a big, hard thing poked up your bum is arousing, you are probably a bottom. Then they have a little thing here under the illustration. It says, the whole point of being gay is that it's two guys. Being a bottom makes a dude no less manly than his top partner. Look at it this way. He's literally taking it like a man. This section, you can't read all of it because they have the excerpt, the pull quote here, but it's talking about, it's telling kids how to make sure it doesn't hurt and how much lube you need to have a man shove his big hard thing up your bum, kids. Judson, this is just over the line. All this gay comic porn has made me crave a cigarette. I'll be back in a minute. Yeah, for kids, right? Right? I wanted to show this first because I want you to know exactly what we're talking about when we watch this video of Tiffany Justice just schooling Joy Reid on this issue, because it's going to make you, I think, rightfully and righteously angrier at people like Joy Reid who try and defend this stuff without knowing one single thing about what they're talking about. Or if they do know what they're talking about and they know that this is in the books, shame on them. Shame on them for lying and trying to call this book banning. I'm gonna read a few more excerpts from this one. For kids, squirting a little bit of water into your back passage to clean it out is a DIY colonic irrigation. Wow. When you send your kids to public school, are you sending them there to learn about DIY colonic irrigation? How to squirt something up their back passage? Is that the purpose of the school, the government school? Tiffany Justice, as I mentioned, who's been killing it, has been highlighting the literacy rates, the failing literacy rates at public schools. In New York alone, only 25% of kids can read at their reading level. Only 25% of kids in New York can read at their grade level. And it's worse for Black kids. Only 11% can read at their grade level. And she's I'm gonna show you a video where she's talking about this and how they're spending $1 million per classroom in New York, $40,000 per kid, and yet these are the literacy rates they have to brag about. 11% for Black children, 25% for all children. Maybe if they didn't spend so much time trying to keep these, colonic irrigation, inserting things up your bum kids, like books, if they didn't spend so much time trying to keep these in the school libraries, and they actually focused on teaching children how to read, the things that the schools are presumably supposed to be about, you wouldn't see such terrible literacy rates. But this is what they think is important: grooming children, defending grooming children, sexually and ideologically grooming children. Here's another little excerpt for, hey kids, if you want to have anal sex, one of you's going to have to go top, parentheses, the one who puts his willy in, and the other bottom, the one who gets the willy up his bum. Here's some more. There's an illustration of a naked man. Keep in mind, kids, that sex doesn't begin and end with your dick. They use that word in this educational, intellectual, academic material. Kids, keep in mind, sex doesn't begin and end with your dick. Be creative. Up your bum, you have a prostate gland, which feels nice when massaged. Something they don't teach you in school is that in order to be able to come at all, you or your partner may need to finish off with a hand job. This is so important. We keep this in children's school libraries, right? Screw figuring out why we have failing literacy rates. Like, let's make sure that kids know how to finish off their partner with a handy and put stuff up their bums. Now they're showing where to find men to hook up with. They're actually talking about Grindr, which, if you don't know what Grindr is, but you do, it's like Tinder, but specifically for gay men, and it has a reputation as being only about hookups, only about sex. It's not really for finding relationships. It's literally, I'm using that word correctly here. It is literally actually about going in, finding a guy, a stranger near you, and hooking up to have sex with him that night. That's that's the reputation that Grindr has. So they have a whole thing here, the great sex app debate in this book, presumably for children, that we need to have in kids' school libraries, right? Here's a quote: "I have used Grindr. The advantages are you can get what you want quickly. The downside is that it's the same people repeatedly, so it can get boring very quickly because I want new strangers to have sex with, right?" How is this for children? Any of this? Here's one. The benefits of Grindr are obvious: quick, easy, and uncomplicated sex. Here's another one. I've met a variety of interesting people through sex apps. They straight up call it a sex app. It's not a dating app. I'm going to continue with this one. If all partners are honest, open, and safe about their lifestyle choices, it makes no difference how many sexual partners you have. They're teaching this. They're teaching morality now in this book for kids. Morality. The morality here, the morality that they're teaching is doesn't matter how many sexual partners you have, kids. You can choose, this is a quote, you can choose to be promiscuous or you can choose not to be. Makes no difference. Are these the moral lessons that you're comfortable with the government giving to your children when you drop them off to learn how to read and write? Let's continue. Something in your arse, they say. Hey kids, something in your arse withdrawn shortly before a clitoral orgasm can feel amazing, all caps. Never run out of lube, kids, especially if you're doing anything with your arse. If it's for a quick shag on Grindr, etc., then yes, roles matter. Let's continue. Again, for children, they want to defend having this in kids' school libraries. Kids, I hate wearing a strap on. You need to be fit to really shag with one of them. And don't ever expect to come when you're wearing it. Hey kids, I love a good shag from a hand or a dildo, vaginal or anal. It's another quote. Again, for children. This is from a section called Part 1, Boy on Boy Sex. Here's a diagram of a boy, and it says it illustrates which parts feel nice. Here's part of a story they're sharing with the kids in this book. On my 16th birthday, I went to hang out at a guitar shop near my house. The owner was older and married, and we had been flirting with each other for months. Anything goes, right, kids? It's cool to be promiscuous and with a married guy when you're a child. When you're 16, it's cool. As the morning went on, we got more and more tactile until we were rubbing crotches against each other. Moral instruction, moral and sexual instruction for your kids. Here's from their definition section, a glossary for children. Rimming. They have rimming in here. Licking the bottom. They have scat, eating poop. Scat, because your kid needs to know about eating poop during sex. They have scissor sisters, a sexual position. This is for two women. They have strap on, a sex toy worn on a belt. From the toys and strap-ons definition, toys, dildos, vibrators, and strap-ons all fulfill the same purpose. Well, I'm not going to be able to say this word. I always get tongue-tied on this word. Say it for me, chat. But basically, it's to insert into the vagina. So then it goes on to explain to children about open relationships. In most open relationships, there are certain rules. These often include, and it says, although with so many rules, one does have to question how much freedom these couples really have. I mean, so many rules. They're teaching kids about open relationships. That was from This Book is Gay, which is one of the books that these leftists defend giving to children in school libraries. Again, if you're a terrible, perverted, degenerate parent who wants to give this kid to your book, the book is not being banned. You can go to any public library or bookstore and you can get this book and you can expose your kid to it, which is, in my opinion, is a form of child abuse. But you do not have a right to insist that government schools put this in public school libraries for kids. You don't have a right to force your terrible, inappropriate, degenerate parenting onto other parents' children through the public school system. You don't have a right to do that. And that's not book banning. That's called you don't get to abuse other people's children through the public school system. You're still free to abuse your kid, apparently. No one's talking about removing this from bookstores or libraries. They're talking about schools for children. Mary says, "I have to go. Thank you for bringing this to light." Thank you, Mary. I'm sorry it's so, just explicit today, but I think we need to know the stuff that's in these books that we're talking about. A lot of people haven't looked through these because they don't, for good reason, don't wanna go check it out, don't wanna buy it. The Swill, I've gotta say, this book is really gay. Yes. Yes, it is. ADL 1992, thank you for the super chat, sir. Thanks for hanging out today for $1.99. I appreciate it. Davina says, "I'm sure the other authors are trying to outdo Juno." Yeah, well, there's one more I want to show. Um, this one comes up in the interview that we're about to watch. So let's look at this one. And this is one of the ones, oh, they love defending this one. They like to say this is award winning. It's award winning. How could you want to ban this book? Again, nobody's talking about removing it from bookstores or libraries. Talking about removing it from children's schools. This is a book called All Boys Aren't Blue, a memoir. Now, in this book, it includes a lot of things that are inappropriate for kids to be in a kids' school library, including um, pedophilia, sex sex between an adult and a kid, and graphic depictions of it. I'm just gonna read a couple of the excerpts here. Again, you can find all this information at Courage is a Habit. These are some of the excerpts from this award-winning book that the leftists like to defend keeping in children's libraries. His body felt great in my mouth. There's one part. He reached his hand down and pulled out my dick. He quickly went to giving me head. Here's another part. As an avid porn watcher, the only thing I knew about anal sex previously was that it was painful. Here's another part. He got on top and slowly inserted himself into me. Um, there are more highlighted parts here you can go and read on Courage is a Habit. This book, I think this is a good transition into watching Tiffany Justice from Moms for Liberty handle Joy Reid. She was recently on The Readout. She did a great job talking about this issue. Let's start with this clip. There's a couple clips here I want to show you. This is one of the best ones, and it's illustrated. I want you to see, like I said, the leftists who call this book banning, they're wrong. They're full of shit. Excuse my language. And they don't know anything deeper than that. They usually don't know anything about the books. They might say, "Well, this book is award winning." They don't know what's in it. Or if they do, I mean, then they're worse people if they try and mount a defense of keeping this in kids' school libraries. So it's not my point is it's not that difficult to talk about this issue with people who don't know anything about it, but who come at you with a lot of opinions, right, about book banning. And I think Tiffany Justice does an amazing job here in a hostile environment, and I want you to see how she handles this. Here, let me get this on the screen. Can you guys see that? Okay. You can see their chyron at the bottom. It says book ban request. You're going to see that change a little bit in these clips, but they basically keep repeating this lie that it's a book ban. Okay.
Saw what some of the content was in the books. I mean, explicit, graphic, sexual content. And I'm happy to talk about some of that content if you'd like to.
Well, this is the question again. The books that are being banned, I want to give you just some.
Hold
on a second.
Well, no, Joy, but I want to be clear. No one's banning books. Write the book, print the book, publish the book, put the book in the public library.
Well, let me pause this. This is great. She just dispels with this lie immediately. But look underneath her while she's saying no one's banning, but like this is kind of important. Joy's like, Joy doesn't want her to be able to say this, but it's the most important thing. You are lying. No one's banning books. So, and look at the chyron. Moms for Liberty leads push to ban books. That's what it says underneath her while she's dispelling this, the fact that this is a lie. I'm going to back up just a second.
I want to give you just some. Hold on a second.
Well, no, Joy, but I want to be clear. No one's banning books. Write the book, print the book, publish the book, put the book in the public library, sell the book, right? We're talking about a public school library. Children don't have unfettered access to the internet at school. I did a FOIA records request, and I wanted to see what kinds of internet sites are banned in schools, if we're going to talk about banning, right? And the subject matter in the books that moms are concerned about are the same things that kids don't have access to on the internet. So it just feels very hypocritical, right? No, why is no one out there protesting for, free the internet in schools?
let me give you
saw what some of the content was in the.
She killed it. She did such a great job. I think everyone needs to watch that so you can be comfortable having these conversations, use her as an illustration, as inspiration. She did a great job, and she did it, as Billboard Chris pointed out, she did it with a smile. I've got another. Yeah, well done, says Adam. Well done. Therese says, you can't read these books on Joy's show. Correct. How funny is that? Just like on YouTube, I'm going to get a strike for this. You can't read this sexually inappropriate material on Joy Reid's show, and yet Joy Reid thinks it should be available for children in children's school libraries. What's wrong with her? One other quick comment about this video clip. Scott Miller says, Joy Reid is a fool who didn't spring for a quality Trump wig. Thank you. Thank you for the giggle. There's a thing, a lot of people who are in the reality movement know better than to talk to the press for a lot of requests, because most of the time the press is going to the press is currently the enemy of the people and the enemy of reality, and they are going to try and twist your words or make you look stupid or edit it maliciously or take you out of context on purpose. Like, they will do things like that. However, there are certain circumstances in which I think people in the reality movement like Tiffany need to say yes, despite any fear of that happening, and go on. And this is one of them, in real time, school this woman. And she did it effortlessly. And I think it was great. I'm glad that she did it. Imagine the audience of MSNBC, these brainwashed lemmings, getting to hear truth for just a couple seconds if they're watching this program. It's so worth it. I've got another clip that I want to show you from this one. And then and we have two more clips, one from the show and one from outside of the protest. Okay. Here we go.
What is booklooks.com?
I'm aware of a website called booklooks.com where parents can go and see some of the books that other parents are concerned about.
Booklooks.com has been used in Florida extensively in counties like, I used to live in Broward County. I lived there for 14 years.
Okay.
In counties like Broward, counties like Clay, counties like Escambia, Moms for Liberty activists are using booklooks.com. And it's essentially a cliff notes for books.
Yeah.
So you go through without even having to read the book. I'm going to just hold it up so our audience can see what it looks like. This is the one for All Boys Aren't Blue, which is one of the books Moms for Liberty has pushed.
Everyone should go go and see the
Sure.
content in this book. That's such a good idea.
And so what
Joy.
happens is you can do keyword searches and find certain keywords.
Like rape,
you can find sure.
or anal
You-
rape, or
you can-
dildo.
You can find all sorts
those types
of keywords.
of words. But like,
Wait, hold on, wait. Let me finish my question.
Okay,
Then
great,
you can answer.
sure.
I'm going to give you time to answer, but I got to ask you first.
No, yeah, I got the question.
And so what you find is the keywords that you find, the N word, anything, words like you just used, whether you'll get out of context passages from the book. And then based on that, Moms for Liberty members are going to places like Broward County School Board meetings, reading out of context passages from these books, and then demanding that the school board remove them.
So what's
That is the way.
Yeah.
The question I'm asking is, what is the expertise that you have and other Moms for Liberty advocates have to decide that a book, an award-winning book like All Boys Aren't Blue, is
What is the expertise? By the way, Tiffany kills it with her answer here, but I just want to highlight what she's doing here. This is a fallacy. It's the appeal to authority fallacy. If you hear someone do this, where they don't have an argument to counter what you're saying, which in Tiffany's case, what is being said is this book, the one we just read these terrible excerpts from, is inappropriate for children's school libraries, right? And Joy doesn't have a good response to that. So what she does is appeal to authority, which is, what is your expertise? What are your credentials? You have to have expertise or credentials, because I can't counter your argument. So I'm going to attack whether you have expertise or credentials or not. And I really like Kelly Jean Keane, Posey Parker's response to this when people say, when someone like Posey Parker or myself makes the argument that that men should not be able to compete with women in women's sports, that they're still biologically men, even if they're trans, they're still biologically men. They have a biological advantage. And because they can't counter that argument, they say, well, what's your expertise in biology? Are you a scientist? And Posey Parker says, yeah, I'm not a veterinarian either, but I know what a dog is. Like, it's just like, that's a great response to this. Look, Joy, I'm not a veterinarian either, but I know what a dog is. And I know what is sexually inappropriate for children. I'm not retarded, okay? Like, I know that a book that talks about adults having sex with kids and illustrates it, or the book we looked at with examples on like the definition of rimming and scat, eating poop, and teaching kids how to stick things up their bum and what kind of lube to use. I know that that's inappropriate for children. Okay, Joy? Like, you don't need expertise to know that. Tiffany gives a much better response to that. I just wanted to point that out there, that appeal to authority. I love it. I love it when you see one of those things show up. Okay, let's scroll back just a little.
An award-winning book like All Boys Aren't Blue isn't appropriate.
It's award-winning. It's award-winning. That's not an argument, Joy. Let's continue.
For students to read. What is your expertise?
What a tragic story of a young man who's anally raped by his adult family member. So you have incest, rape, pedophilia. Joy, you said you'd let me answer, so
Sure.
I'm going to answer
Please
for you. In what context is a strap-on dildo acceptable for public school?
Thank you.
I mean, that's my question to you.
What a great response. Tell me, Joy, in what context is a child being anally raped by an adult? In what context is a strap-on? In what context is teaching kids about scat appropriate for school? Do you need expertise to know that this is highly evolved and educated and intellectual? We read through some of these books. Oh, it's so intellectual. The language they're using, bombs and willies. Wow. Mark, the danger of parents having a chance to review the material their kids read. By the way, what's Joy's expertise? Exactly. A bully pulpit. Boom, says Marielle. Yeah, she nailed it. Tiffany Justice, you're killing it lately. If you see this, I'm loving what you're doing. I think you you're the hero, one of the heroes that we need at this moment. And I wish Moms for Liberty all the best. If you guys are watching and you haven't seen it, I did an interview with Tiffany here on Deprogrammed. You can go back and watch it. I have nothing but respect for these moms. They are under direct fire and attack by the social justice left, by the woke left, by the mainstream media constantly, because they are over the target. They're doing a great job. If you are a mom, I would consider finding a chapter near you and helping these ladies out, being a part of it, joining. If you need resources or materials, you can go to courageisahabit.org. That's where I was pulling up some of these books that are in question. And yeah, I look, the tide is turning, guys. It's turning. They don't have a leg to stand on. That's why they're pulling out the appeals to authority and the name calling and attacking people's character and calling them all kinds of incorrect things about, bigots and white supremacists and what have you. And to that end, I'm going to end with this clip. This is another one that Tiffany shared. This is just a We Love Tiffany Justice and Moms for Liberty episode at this point, but I've got another one that she shared that's just great. This is from the Moms for Liberty discussion that happened in New York City on January 18th. And there were protests outside. Let me see it. Maybe I can show you two. Yeah, let me show you two clips. I'm going to set up before I show you the one outside. So we got two clips left. Let me do this one first. And I'm going to read this tweet from Restore Childhood. It says, why did New York City elected officials try to shut down conversations with the families they represent? Thanks to all who joined us inside the building at the Moms for Liberty Town Hall last week. Free and open dialogue sets our children up for a brighter future. There is no other way. So we're going to watch. This is the Moms for Liberty event in New York. Here's what's happening outside. We're going to see what's happening outside and then what's happening inside.
Why are you guys out here tonight?
Moms for Liberty are goddamn fascists.
Would you like to have a conversation?
Do you hear these morons? First of all, he's masked, which tells you everything. But he goes, Moms for Liberty are goddamn fascists. He reminds me of that old sign. Remember that old sign? Oh my goodness, during the W era, and it was of a right winger, Republican or someone, and he said, "You guys are morons," and he misspelled morons. It said morons. Remember that? That's what these people remind me of. They're like the type of people who would have a sign that says, "You're all morons. You're goddamn fascists." Okay, we'll continue. Look at these crazies outside.
Why are you guys out here tonight?
Moms for Liberty are goddamn fascists.
Would you like to have a conversation?
I've heard a lot of negative things about Moms for Liberty, so I want to come and see what they have to say.
The most important thing that we need to be able to do is speak honestly and invite all the voices to the table.
Clearly, you think that Moms for Liberty is racist. Would you like to tell us why?
I don't think we're about to tell you some hard
They always look crazy like that. She got the mask on. Billboard Chris is like, would you like to tell us why? I don't speak to fascists. I don't speak to fascists. Okay.
We're about to tell you some hard truths that people outside yelling at a building don't want you to know.
A supermajority of New York City students have not been reading, writing, and doing math at grade level.
Invited Chancellor Banks to come and Mayor Eric Adams, they weren't able to make it. I also invited the Manhattan Borough President, Mark Levine. He was welcome to be here and have a conversation.
Our elected officials went and stood outside instead of having the bravery to come into this room and have this conversation.
People who are canceled for speaking the truth.
Children of African descent, when they have access to a culture that's not this, they do better in school. Math has no color.
Why are you telling me how to raise my kid?
You can do that. But maybe you don't take all the 6-year-olds in the class and tell them, did you know that some people identify as a different gender? It's not age appropriate.
Let the teachers do the teaching job, you do your parenting job.
The schools that shut down are not the schools we should back to.
Teachers' unions have overplayed their hand and awakened a sleeping giant.
About 2 years ago, started working on preserving their stories.
Okay. That was just excellent. The protesters, yeah, they always look that way, don't they? Okay, now this is the clip I want to end on because this just gets to the heart of the matter. these people, so the propaganda coming out of the woke left, the social justice left, the stuff that they see in their echo chamber and the mainstream media tells them, Moms for Liberty is a radical extremist way, and they're racist, and they're all white supremacists, and they're fascists, and and the ones who are brainwashed, like I used to be, who are deep in the cult, like that's all it takes. They don't investigate further. They don't know. There are moms of all races, of course, in Moms for Liberty. There's all kinds of belief systems in Moms for Liberty. There's all kinds of political persuasions in Moms for Liberty, but these are moms who care about their kids' education, care about the failing literacy rates, care about the sexually inappropriate material in schools, and critical race theory, this racist ideology being taught to their children. These are concerned parents who are making a difference. And so they are under attack, and you get these lemmings, these protesters who, often look the same and say the same crazy stuff. And so I'm going to end with this one, because this was a tweet from Tiffany Justice about this event in New York. She says, a protester I spoke with at our New York City town hall says that Moms for Liberty is part of a longstanding tradition of white women's groups. What? Trying to protect the sanctity of white child's lives. What? And I love her answer here. She says, ma'am, your racism card doesn't work anymore. We're going to and by the way, of course, you don't even have to, before you see it, I want you to guess the race of the protester. If you said a white woman, you're correct. Yes, a white woke woman. Yes, it is. Ma'am, your racism card doesn't work here anymore. We are here to have mature discussions about solutions, not to yell at a building. Despite $1 million being spent per classroom, only 25% of children in New York can read at grade level. Black children are being left behind the most, with only 11% proficient at reading. Moms in this country, Black, brown, and white, are tired of the lies and division, and we're going to fight together for our kids. And that's just excellent.
You could have come inside and listened.
Trust me, there will be some people inside who will be quote unquote listening.
Oh, I'm glad that you have people coming inside, and when they come,
Look at her smarmy little smile there. She thinks she's got one over. There will be some people inside listening, meaning recording. It's funny. They live stream this event. There's nothing they don't want you to see. It's transparent. In fact, she's inviting you to come in, you dumbass. Like, it's live streamed, but this woman's like, we're in there secretly recording, yo. We're going to get the goods. Well, great. You could also just come to the live stream, or you could come inside and see. Look, there will be people. Look at her stupid smile.
oh, I'm glad that you have people coming inside, and when they come back out and they tell you how we talked about the fact that the majority of kids in New York are not learning to read.
So let me tell you something, Mom.
Are you?
Hold on one second. Matt says, "I stand with the trash." She is standing with the trash. Okay.
So let me tell you something, Moms.
Are you
for
concerned
Liberty.
about the fact that a lot of kids in New York aren't learning how to read?
Absolutely, and the best way for them to read is to read. And for
Let me ask
example,
you a question.
Drag Story Hour is a
Do you
fabulous way to learn.
Do you
how
know?
to
Let me
read.
ask you a question. How much money do you think we spend every year on a public school student's education in New York?
Probably about $30,000.
$40,000.
Okay, so I wasn't too far off.
And don't you think that's a lot of money?
No, I think that there's
to not have kids learning how to read.
So this is what I'll tell you is that Moms for Liberty is part of a long-standing tradition of white women's groups trying to protect the sanctity of white children's lives. It goes back to the Klan. It goes back to the construction of trying to segregate schools, of trying to ban books, and we know who you are and we follow you. And we're out here to say
we're going to live stream the event tonight. We're going to live stream the event tonight. I hope that you watch it.
Oh man, you guys have some great comments in the chat. I wanted to show you, I think James Lindsay said, is her argument that Black kids need dildo books? And I was like, clearly, obviously.
Trust me, there will be some
crazy people. Listen to her. Oh, well, Black kids are only reading, they only have an 11% literacy rate in New York. Doesn't that bother you? And she's basically like, let the drag queens read it. Well, I guess they need the dildo books. That'll help. This will turn it around. Like, what? These people are retarded. I'm I don't know. I don't know. That's the enemy, folks, and he is hilarious. I'll tell you. Oh gosh, what's that quote? There's a great quote about this. I'm gonna pull it up. I haven't. Voltaire. This used to be one of my favorite quotes. I haven't thought of this in a while. Voltaire. I have never made but one prayer to God, a very short one. Oh Lord, make my enemies ridiculous, and God granted it. From 1767. It's a great quote. I think it sums up these nut jobs protesting Moms for Liberty very well. So, you guys had some great quotes in the chat about this terrible lady. Thanks for hanging out today. Let's invite John Wayne Gacy to read to our kids. He's a Democrat and a clown. Thanks for hanging out today. Thanks for the levity and the laughs in the chat for what is a very disturbing, evil, disgusting thing happening in our schools and in our country, in our culture at the moment. I'm a firm believer that you need to find laughter in everything. You need to take it seriously, and you need to also mock it. Both things. Both are tools worth using. And I really just, I'm very grateful for Courage as a Habit, where you can find a lot of these tools, information, resources. If you're a parent who's fighting woke indoctrination in your kid's school, I'm also very grateful for Moms for Liberty, and I encourage you to check them out and support them. And Tiffany Justice, who's just killing it this week. So thank you for tuning in to Deprogrammed. If you like this content, if you like our programming, please consider becoming a subscriber. You can support us for as little as $1 a month at Patreon, Locals. What's the other? Subscribestar here at YouTube. And we are now live streaming on Rumble. So simulcasting there. We'll be doing all of our live stream simulcast on Rumble and on YouTube from now on. We've got book club. I'll just remind you, our first book club of the year, we're bringing it back. It's going to be Thursday, March 7th. And at 6:00 Central, we're going to be discussing Critical Dilemma by Neil Shenvi and Pat Sawyer. So you have a little time to read that ahead of time if you want to be a part of the Deprogrammed book club. And thank you for hanging out today. Leave a comment below if you enjoyed the video. If you have suggestions or feedback for me, I appreciate it now in the new studio. If you have suggestions about sound or audio or video or anything, I appreciate all of that, and appreciate the subscribers and you guys. And yeah, I'm in a very just grateful state of mind. I think the tide is turning culturally, and that makes me excited. And I'm excited to hang out with you wrong thinkers and wrong knitters and wrong speakers and wrong gamers and all of you. So take care, and we will see you on Wednesday for Popped Culture at 8:00 Central.